China's adoption of the policy of reform and opening up, great
Yes.
progress has been made. The Chinese language is more influential in the world. It also provides many opportunities for people if you can really well speak and write the language well. So I think to choose to learn Chinese is a good idea. You can do business, engage in other enterprises in China. The first factor is interest. It provides you with a new horizon for you to know a lot of new things, for you to read the latest science and technology. If you want to learn a language, you must be confident that
Right.
if other people can speak the language well, and you can speak the language well. Yeah, learning together from Kelly. Kelly is not only a good teacher, she's also a dear friend. You can make progress.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to the first episode of the Kelly Show. Today, I'm so excited. We have a legend with us today, and I'm so honored to have studied with Professor Wang for a period of time. He's a political commentator for CGTN, China Global Television Network. He's an author, an interpreter, and a translator. Some of his students are now working for the Chinese government, and they are one of the best interpreters in China. Professor Wang, many of our audience and listeners might not know about you very well. Could you tell us more about your contribution in your field?
Well, that's a very challenging question. You asked me to talk about my contribution, and actually, I prefer you to address me as Professor Wang, because during my lifetime, I have roughly done 3 types of work. The first is translation and interpretation. The second is teaching translation and interpretation. The third is as a leader in organizations associated with interpretation and translation. So I identify myself as a teacher. Yeah.
I see. Just curious, Professor Wang, what kind of TV show you was on previously?
Actually, I have been on CCTV. It used to be called CCTV, China Central Television Station. That is the English channel as a political analyst. That's what what title they gave me.
Yeah.
And just now you already mentioned the name changed a bit. China Global.
CGTN, yes.
The China Global the television network.
Yes. What about some of the books that you have published? As I know, you have been translated for many books before, right?
My books published fall under 2 large categories. The first category is translation. The second category, books or dictionaries and so on and so forth. Talking about translation, and they again fall into 2 types. First is from English into Chinese. The second type from Chinese into English. The books published from Chinese into English are published in Singapore. The major field is Chinese culture. For instance, there's a 100 Chinese gods. 100 Chinese gods. We may also say 100 Chinese immortals. And that book, after publication, was on the international books exposition in Tokyo in 1995, and it won silver prize. For that, the publishing house in Singapore was very happy, and so the Singapore International Radio Broadcasting Radio gave me an interview over a long distance call, and they also awarded me with written certificate about that.
I see.
And the other books published in Singapore are 100 Chinese emperors, 100 Chinese scholars, and the medicine classic of Emperor Huangdi, that's a medicine book, and then some Arthur Wars, Arthur War by Wei Liaozi, and so on and so forth. Yeah. And as for translations from English into Chinese, those translations were done at the beginning stage of my translation career. For instance, James and Giant Peach is by Roald Dahl. It's a children's story, and all creatures, great and small. That's quite popular in foreign countries. I know the book has been made into a TV series. I mean, the English book, not my translation.
Yeah.
And also Moby Dick, and the Moby Dick was published in China. It was published as with both English and Chinese versions for comparison. So you have to be very careful, otherwise people can read English and Chinese all at the same time. And roughly about that, there are also other translations, some short stories from by Canadian writers, among whom Alice Munro. Munro translated 3 of her short stories, for instance, Boys and Girls. Later, a few years ago, Alice Munro won the Nobel Prize of Literature. It's a woman, very famous woman writer, and so on and so forth. The other books are the textbooks used by in Chinese universities, in some Chinese organizations, in some important Chinese activities. For instance, we have all China business English translation test.
Yes.
And the textbooks used are mainly mainly done by me, I think. And there are also such books. There's a dictionary, which business English, comprehensive business English dictionary. Actually, it's not only a dictionary; it includes dictionary and compilation of all the various practical articles. For instance, business writing. For instance, a letter of credit. For instance, insurance certificate, and so on and so forth. And that includes all the useful writing for business English. And just last month, we published an oral interpretation textbook for business English translation.
Yes.
And another dictionary. There's another dictionary which is now, I think it should be in Prince because it is handled by commercial press, China commercial press.
Yes.
China
Yes.
commercial press is the very is a press with publishing house with with the longest history, and it is business English dictionary, business English dictionary in both English and Chinese. That is what I am. What I did was to decide to do the final version of the Chinese version, the English Chinese version. The English version was done by Cambridge, by the Cambridge Publishing House. Yeah, there are quite a few books. Anyway, generally speaking, but even now, there are two books which are under discussion. They in the publishing house invited me to do the two books, but because of the COVID-19 and some other matters, I wonder whether I can do that. Yeah, that's roughly what I did in my life.
Wow, that's very impressive. As I know, Professor Wang, many of your students are also involved in this book editing work with you, right? Just curious, who have you trained before?
Oh, I would not like to call them my students. I would like to call them my friends. And we studied together. We discussed the various matters. Among them, there's a lady. His name is Guo Ziqiu. He was my postgraduate actually, and she did excellent work in interpretation. Right now, she's working with the United Nations doing translation, and actually, she was, I should say, she is the 13th member of AIC in China, and to become a member of AIC is not so easy, and she is the 13th one in China who was accepted by AIC. And there are also other people, I should say friends, like Qi Taoyuan, like Wang Rui, like Yao Jingjing. Yao Jingjing did interpretation for senior officials coming from the UK and the United States. And by senior officials, I mean officials at or above ministerial level. When these minister officials come to China, the embassy will invite her to do interpretation. She did that for quite a number of years. Now, because of COVID-19, that was affected to quite a lot. But I hope in the future she will begin doing that again.
Yes.
Many celebrated ladies and gentlemen doing interpretation and translation. And we don't have the time to enumerate them one by one.
Yes. Indeed. And I know, Professor Wang, you've been always interested in translating Chinese to English. So how did you get started? Why would you like to choose this industry?
Why would I choose translation and interpretation as my job?
Yeah, as your job, as your profession.
Yeah. I think the first factor is interest. I've been interested and in foreign language. For me, that's English, of course. For your friends, it's Chinese.
Yes.
So I think if you're interested in English, naturally, you want to convert between the English language and your mother tongue, in my case, Chinese. So interest played an important role. And of course, there are some other factors. For instance, I know you know the significance, the importance of English, especially in the years when I began to learn it. Was, I think, very significant in China. It provides you with a new horizon for you to know a lot of new things, for you to read the latest science and technology, for you to read English literature. And that's also important. It provides you with greater opportunities in your career. Those are also factors. But don't neglect interest. If you are really interested in something, you can do it well. And so when I studied English in the early years of my studies of English, and whenever I run into some so-called difficulties, I didn't feel them difficulties at all. I try to read them again, or looking at things from a different angle. So it's easy. The more I learn, the more interested I am. Less, yeah. So the more I want to say, it will be impossible for you to tear yourself away from it. But if you really want to learn a language well, a second language well, and I think what is important is to make a systematic comparison between that language with your mother tongue. And the more comparison you make, the more profound your understanding of the two languages, and the more proficient will be your translation and interpretation skill.
I see. And when it comes to learning a new language, and because I teach Chinese to friends from overseas, and many of those Chinese learners, they tend to learn by themselves. So what's your take on this? Do you think they can really master a new language by themselves, or do you think they need to follow a teacher to learn the language in a systematic way and help them to make progress faster?
It is not wrong to say that one can learn a language oneself.
Yes,
you can. But you will have to spend a lot of time. If you really get a good teacher, it makes a lot of difference. You can spend less time while get more benefit. The teacher will point out the key ideas, the key points in learning a foreign language, in doing translation between the two languages. But the point is that you really have to have a good teacher. I'm so glad to hear that you have some very bright foreign friends learning Chinese from you. I would say congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you
because Kelly is a good learner, very conscientious, and very intelligent, and also very patient. And to learn from Kelly will benefit the learners, I'm sure.
Thank you for that. Thank you for all your compliment, Professor Wang. Welcome to my channel. This is Katie Xu. The Kelly Show is for you if you are a business owner and you want to do business with Chinese people. You want to gain trust from Chinese people so much faster by speaking fluent Chinese and understand the business Chinese etiquette and the Chinese culture. The Kelly Show is designed for you if you want to master the Chinese language fast and understand the Chinese business etiquette. I will interview successful linguistic experts who have been giving lectures to overseas ambassadors and successful entrepreneurs who have built empires and influencers and other world-class experts. I will bring you insights, tactics, strategies that will take your Chinese proficiency to the next level and gain trust from affluent Chinese business owners so much faster. It doesn't matter what stage of your Chinese learning journey is right now, from the beginning level to the intermediate level, from the intermediate level to the mastery level. So subscribe my channel right now and hit the notifications below. I look forward to helping you skyrocket your Chinese learning result and gain trust from sophisticated Chinese business owners so much faster and close more deals. As a result, generate more income for your business.